There are tons of actors like this. They all started out just like you, but eventually they were destroyed by their parents' greed, drugs, or perverted Hollywood directors.
Oh, like Bryan Singer.
Exactly.
Meet Michael Egan, the man filing a civil lawsuit against X-Men director Bryan Singer for allegedly drugging and sexually assaulting him while he was just 15. But Egan is 31 years old now, so what took so long?
We attempted to come forward years ago, and a lot of it fell on deaf ears. Wasn't able to see trauma therapists. They didn't want to see me and so forth. They wanted no documentation that I was ever in their office.
The lawsuit claims he attended a private Hollywood party in 1999 where Singer forced him to allegedly perform sexual activities and consume illegal drugs and underage alcohol.
I mean, I've had drugs put in drinks. I had liquor poured down my throat from being where there were rules in the house of no swimsuits, no clothes out by the pool area. I was raped numerous times in that house by numerous individuals.
Singer and others involved in the rumored sex ring weren't investigated, and Egan reportedly repressed the incident and turned to alcohol abuse to help cope with the incident until seeking trauma therapy 11 months ago.
For the first time, I've really started to kind of put together all of the trauma and so forth in my brain of what I've actually really experienced. And therefore, as I've been going through trauma therapy, I contacted Jeff nearly 6 months ago.
The man who accused X-Men director Bryan Singer of sexually assaulting him at wild pool parties when he was 15 claimed orgies are common, and based on what TMZ knows, they are.
You were like a piece of meat to these people, and they'd pass you around between them. It was, if I could define what that house was, it's evil.
Sources familiar with the situation tell TMZ there's a weekly party in LA that recruits very young men, advertising 18 and up, but often attended by people with fake IDs who are underage, along with a bunch of very powerful older men in Hollywood. The parties are usually held every Thursday night at various nightclubs in the Hollywood and West Hollywood areas.
You have a gun put in your mouth, and you believe that they'll pull the trigger on you at any time. Do you not listen to what they tell you to do?
Now, Michael Egan's case was eventually dropped, but it has been brought to my attention that the whole reason he may have gone public in the first place was so that he didn't get suicided because he knew too much.
The X-Men director that's at the center of a huge sexual abuse scandal with a young boy admits he is quite bisexual. Not the best time.
Openly gay actor Noah Galvin, star of The Real O'Neills, went off on Bryan Singer and Modern Family star Eric Stonestreet, among others, in an interview that blindsided the network. Many insiders think the rant could affect the future of the low-rated series. It started on June 9th when Galvin gave a brutally frank interview to New York Magazine's Vulture blog about Hollywood's quote-unquote glass closet. He most controversially targeted Bryan Singer with a comment about underage boys that later was stricken from the story after the X-Men director's lawyers intervened. Sources with knowledge of the events say ABC was blindsided by the interview. According to one source, ABC screamed at him all afternoon.
A few connections I noticed with Bryan Singer was that he directed and produced or whatever Usual Suspects and Superman Returns with Kevin Spacey, with all those allegations lately with underage boys. And also Brian Peck, convicted child molester, and a few of his movies too. This one doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's something I noticed, so I figured I would throw it in here. In 2007, he did a movie called Trick or Treat, featuring Brian Cox and Dylan Baker. And the only reason I bring this up is I used to watch a lot of independent movies back when I was married, you know, a long time ago. And Brian Cox plays a pedophile in a movie called Lie, L-I-E. I think it stands for Long Island Expressway, where he likes to blow teenage boys. And Dylan Baker stars in a really fucked up movie as a pedophile, and that movie is called Happiness. It'll make you sick. Now this one's a separate case altogether against Bryan Singer and Gary Goddard.
It was just last month that X-Men director Bryan Singer, as well as some entertainment executives, were named in lawsuits alleging that they took part in a sex ring. Well, now a new lawsuit has been filed, and today during a news conference here in Beverly Hills, the plaintiff in this new case says that he has proof.
Back in 2003, Gary Goddard went online and contacted my client, who was then 14 years old.
The lawsuit claims that an unnamed man from the United Kingdom, who's being called John Doe, met Goddard when he was 13. It's alleged that Goddard got the teen to send Goddard nude pictures of himself and take part in a webcam session in which both John and Goddard were nude.
Told my client he had the right kind of look for show business. He told my client, Gary Goddard, told my client that he knew people in show business that could help him, including Bryan Singer. And we allege in a complaint that Gary Goddard and my client engaged in nude chatting. My client was nude while Gary Goddard masturbated.
Then there's a handwritten card, allegedly written by Goddard to the plaintiff, that was sent with a box of chocolate.
It does say love. Love, Gary.
When my client turned 16, Gary Goddard traveled to Great Britain, had my client come down to London to meet him there, where they engaged in sexual activity, specifically anal intercourse. Invite him to come down, which turns out to be the Superman premiere in London. 17 years old, he arrives at this premiere event. He's told he's going to be riding with Bryan Singer. Bryan takes him and brings him onto the red carpet. Bryan Singer takes him into an after party.
This is another picture that the plaintiff says was taken at the Superman after party.
He offers him a Quaalude, which my client at 17 does not accept, and then they give him a drink. He drinks it, says he feels very intoxicated. He gets invited back to an after party, or the after party in Bryan Singer's suite.
In the lawsuit, the accuser says Singer offered him a Quaalude and then took him back to a hotel room where a third man smacked John Doe around during a sexual assault by Singer and Goddard. It also claims a large man stripped John of his clothing.
Bryan Singer and Gary Goddard take the 17-year-old boy into the bedroom. They begin to try to do sexual things to him. He resists. He says no. He's uncomfortable. Gary Goddard leaves the room and comes back with a big muscle-bound man. And he physically manhandles my client. He pushes him around. He holds him while Bryan Singer starts to take off his clothes. After a little while, they tell this man, the big man, to leave. Bryan says to him, if you just get on top of me and do some sort of masturbatory thing, then you can leave. My client complies, which he does while Gary Goddard's in the room. We allege that he is laying on top of, my client at 17 is laying on top of Bryan Singer naked and performs this type of sexual activity.
So the plaintiff says that he still has the envelope as well as a Superman bracelet to prove that he was at that 2006 movie premiere. He also says that Gary Goddard reached out to him through social media over this past weekend, but he says he did not reply.
And this dude from ER is accusing Gary Goddard of molesting him and his friends.
Producer Gary Goddard announced Tuesday he would take a leave of absence from the LA-based entertainment design firm, the Goddard Group, where he had served as CEO. The leave, effective immediately, follows accusations by ER star Anthony Edwards earlier this month that Goddard had molested the young actor when he was a child. Goddard, speaking through his publicist, Sam Singer, has unequivocally denied Edwards' accusations in an essay on Medium that the entertainment executive abused him and his friends when he was 12 years old.
As of recently, it's been brought to my attention that Bryan Singer's not showing up for work. And he's deleted his social media accounts, and he's MIA.
20th Century Fox halted production on the Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody due to the unexpected availability of director Bryan Singer. The film stars Mr. Robot breakout Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury, Queen's frontman who passed away in 1991. A representative for Singer released a statement to the BBC that explains the director's absence is due to a personal health matter concerning Bryan and his family. However, according to THR's sources, Singer didn't return to the production following Thanksgiving. Speculation has already begun to circulate online that Singer's absence from the set of Bohemian Rhapsody is related to an upcoming report concerning new or known allegations of sexual violence against the director.
And a message for Bryan Singer. Run, bitch, run. Why you running if he ain't guilty?
Hey, Bryan, did you go to Hawaii with Michael? Are you doing the things that people say that you're not doing?
Fucking stove.
They'd pass you around between them. It was, if I could define what that house was, it's evil.